Hello, my name's Dale Hawthorne. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a brief one on the best discernment ministry you never heard of. There have been a number of videos put out by different groups on YouTube, and discernment ministry seems to have come on and passed 40 years ago, but the original discernment ministry I'm going to be mentioning in a moment. But before we go on further, please click like and subscribe. And if this is helpful to you, share it and look for others that on my channel that may interest you. So again, please click like and subscribe, and thank you for your time and attention. First, have you ever heard of Walter Martin? If you've never heard of Walter Martin, and if you're putting out stuff on discernment and cults and New Age and stuff like that, and Christianity and non-Christian cults and so on, pseudo-Christian cults, and you don't know about Walter Martin and you don't have his books, then you need to start back there. Walter Martin, since the 1960s at least, I became familiar with his work in the 1970s, and he's one of the original ones who dealt with putting out the differences between Orthodox Christian belief and many of the cults. First book which I became acquainted with, Walter Martin, The Kingdom of the Cults. This happened in college, my first year of college. I was a baby believer about, well, I wouldn't put baby, but I was growing. I was still pretty wet behind the ears. And there on campus, I was coming into contact with some occult leaders. And I was given to take a look at the earlier edition of this book, and this has been updated by his family and by others. And he did have a great deal of interaction with different cults, different churches and like that, and he's pretty mainstream. He doesn't go into a lot of things about separatism over small differences, very minor things, and he's generous to those he's disagreed with. And although he wasn't a full-blown Pentecostal, he was from a Baptist background and he worked with Baptists. He worked with charismatics. He even spoke and taught at Melodyland, which is a very Pentecostal institution, church, and I believe they did have some sort of Bible school with it back then. But he wasn't cessationist, dispensationalist, and that's one of the concerns I do have about many of the discernment ministries, that they start talking about New Age and stuff like that, and they start lumping in Christians who may say something that sounds something like something that a New Age person may have said, but that Christian has nothing to do with that. So, and even though his work is older, you'll still find that there's a lot that he has to say which is still valid, things which can still be used. Oh, not only the Kingdom of the Cults, but also the new cult. This is older too. You'll find a lot of things in there too which deal with more New Age stuff, because the New Age at this time, when this was first put out, was still there. There were groups like Theosophy, which were kind of like syncretism with Eastern religions, and which made its way in there. But some of the newer ones, like Est, and some were put in the later version. So again, get the books, read through them. He's solid on Christian doctrine. Mere Christianity. He's generous to those he might disagree with on points. He doesn't do things like call, if he's a Calvinist, call Arminians false teachers and stuff like that. It's really upon the basis of major Christian doctrine he would say that differ, and really say that they're outside the stream of Orthodox Christianity. And Orthodox, I don't mean Eastern Orthodox, I mean what Christians have believed going back to the days of the apostles after the ascension of Jesus. So another one I would recommend, and about Walter Martin, The Kingdom of the Occult. and it deals with actual occult practices. And he did a great deal of research on that also. And now that you've gotten so far, you're going to have a special treat. If you get to the end here, you'll find that there's a YouTube playlist which I put together. It's not videos which I've uploaded, but it points to videos which another believer has put together, and he's got a great deal more on his channel. But this, and there's some from other different channels too. But where Walter Martin is speaking, it's good to hear him talk and deal with people and deal with all these issues. So again, if you follow Discernment Ministries or you have a discernment ministry, you really need to become familiar with what Walter Martin has been teaching. It'll help to keep you from doing one of the biggest things I think discernment ministries do: friendly fire on people who are genuine believers, where they differ, where they begin to call people false teachers, who are Orthodox Christians, and taking minor disagreements up to major descriptions of false teaching, false prophecy, etc. So that's all I have for this one right here. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I hope that this is helpful to you.